Its apocalyptic judgments.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 bowls.
The whole shebang.
The whole shebang. Yeah, this book.
Doesn't hold back.
It does not hold back on the imagery, does it?
Not at all. Very vivid, very striking.
Yeah, very intense. And I think even if you're not...
Even if someone
isn't deeply religious...
Not religious at all.
Yeah.
These images, I mean...
These images have kind of...
They've
permeated our culture, right?
Our culture.
Oh.
You see them in movies. You see them in art.
Like, yeah, movies, art, literature, everywhere.
Literature, music even.
So I think understanding...
Yeah, understanding the source material.
Like where it comes from.
Adds a whole other dimension.
Totally.
It's like, oh, okay, I see.
Adds a layer of meaning to like how we even use those symbols today.
Exactly.
So for this deep dive, we're not,
right.
We're not here to like back any specific...
No specific interpretation.
We're really just here to kind of unpack those symbols.
Unpack the symbolism.
And explore how they depict these events, these moments of like reckoning.
Yeah, these apocalyptic judgments.
Yeah, these judgments.
Times of reckoning, I like that.
Yeah.
So where do we start?
I think we got to start
with the seals.
With the 7 seals, yeah.
And
right out of the gate,
right away,
we get this super dramatic scroll.
Oh yeah, I love this part.
That only Jesus,
as
like the Lion of Judah,
yeah,
can open.
It's powerful.
So powerful.
It sets the stage right away.
Yeah.
The sense of power and mystery.
Immediately, like, whoa, okay, this is a big deal.
This is not just any scroll.
This is not your average scroll.
This holds earth-shattering revelations.
Literally earth-shattering.
Literally, yeah.
As we'll see.
Each broken seal unleashes a judgment.
Okay, so let's break them open.
Let's do it.
What happens when we...
One by one.
Break the first seal?
We see a rider on a white horse.
Okay. Rider on a white horse.
With a bow.
With a bow and a crown. So initially you might think...
At first glance.
Yeah.
Peace, victory, maybe.
Like, oh, good things. This is a good omen.
Right, but there's this feeling...
There's this underlying sense of... conquest.
It's like maybe
false peace.
The false peace, yeah.
It's almost like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
In sheep's clothing, right?
Yeah, the white horse.
The white horse, yeah.
Traditionally, it's a symbol of peace.
Yeah, purity.
Purity, goodness, all that.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
But here, it's potentially...
Yeah, a little bit twisted. A harbinger of something a little bit darker.
Something darker, peace achieved through force, maybe.
Oh.
Almost like it's not earned, it's imposed. Which leads us right into the second seal.
Right into the second seal.
War breaks out.
War.
Symbolized by a rider.
A rider on a fiery red horse.
On a fiery red horse.
With a giant sword.
Oh, it's like...
No more peace.
No more peace, yeah.
Straight to violence and conflict.
And then this third seal, famine.
Famine, yeah.
Rider on a black horse.
Black horse.
Holding scales, showing
how scarce food has become.
Food has become, wow.
Yeah, so it's targeting...
So each one is targeting these really fundamental...
Very fundamental aspects of human existence.
Like peace and stability, and then sustenance.
Sustenance,
right.
Food, water, shelter, all that.
Yeah, it's like the world is systematically being stripped of...
Stripped of what keeps it going.
Keeps it going, yeah.
And then...
And just when you think.
When you think it can't get worse.
Right, it can't get worse.
Yeah.
The fourth seal arrives.
The fourth seal, the pale horse.
Mm-hmm. Pale horse.
And its rider.
Is death itself, with Hades trailing right behind.
Trailing right behind, yeah. This one's brutal.
Brutal. A quarter of the earth is devastated.
A quarter of the earth.
Yeah, it's like a whole...
Sword, famine, plague, wild beasts.
The whole shebang, yeah.
The whole shebang. Everything bad you can think of.
So this imagery...
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
So interesting.
Death riding a pale horse with Hades following.
Yeah.
It suggests...
That death and revelation.
That death is not just an ending.
Not just an ending.
It's a transition into something else.
A transition, yeah.
Something potentially terrifying.
Potentially terrifying. Whoa.
Yeah.
It makes you think...
It raises the question.
What happens after death?
Like, what happens after death?
Where do these souls go?
Yeah.
That adds a whole other layer.
A whole other layer.
To this whole thing. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have the fifth seal.
Fifth seal.
It kind of shifts the focus a little bit.
Yeah, shifts the focus.
To the souls of martyrs.
Martyrs.
Under the altar.
Under the altar, crying out for justice.
Crying out for justice.
Powerful image.
Powerful image of suffering.
Of suffering and longing.
Yeah, and longing
for wrongs to be made right.
For wrongs to be made right, for like...
It speaks to this idea that even in death, there's this cry
for accountability.
For accountability, this desire for the scales
of justice.
Of justice to be balanced.
To be balanced, yeah.
It's this reminder that actions
have consequences.
Actions have consequences.
Even beyond this earthly life.
Even beyond this earthly life. Powerful.
Wow. Okay, then comes the sixth seal.
Sixth seal.
And this is where things...
Full-blown cinematic.
Full-blown cinematic.
This is like a Michael Bay film.
Yeah. Massive earthquake.
Massive earthquake.
Rocks the world. Sun goes black.
Sun goes black.
Moon turns blood red.
Blood red.
Stars are falling from the sky.
Falling from the sky.
It's like the universe itself is freaking out.
Yeah, the imagery here is meant to overwhelm.
Yeah.
To evoke awe and terror.
Awe and terror.
This isn't just a local disaster.
This is cosmic.
Cosmic upheaval.
Yeah.
This is a sign that something
monumental.
Monumental is happening.
It's happening, yeah.
This is big.
Big. And then there's this silence.
The sudden eerie silence in heaven.
Silence.
Like
even the angels are taking a moment.
Taking a moment to process.
Process what they've just witnessed.
What just happened, yeah.
Yeah, that pause is deliberate.
It is.
It creates this sense of anticipation.
Like, oh, what's next?
Yeah, almost a dread of what's to come.
Ooh, okay,
because after the silence,
we move to
the next phase of judgments.
The seven trumpets.
The trumpets, here we go.
Each blast.
Heralds
a new calamity.
A new calamity, and each one seems to target the very fabric of creation.
Ooh.
Like the world itself is being undone.
Okay, so the first trumpet brings hail and fire mixed with blood. Hail and fire mixed with blood.
Burning up
a third of the earth's vegetation.
A third of the earth's vegetation.
A third. The second trumpet throws a burning mountain.
Second trumpet.
Into the sea.
Burning mountain.
Yeah.
Into the sea.
Turning a third of it into blood. That recurring third.
Yeah.
It's significant.
It is.
It's not total annihilation, you notice that?
Yeah.
It's a precise symbolic fraction.
Yeah.
It might represent a kind of divine restraint. Like a measured judgment, even amidst the chaos.
Interesting.
Like God is still in control.
Yeah, and then
comes the third trumpet. And things get
more unsettling.
Even more unsettling.
And a giant star.
Called
wormwood.
Crashes down.
Poisoning a third of all the fresh water.
Poisoning the fresh water.
What kind of star is poisonous?
That's a good question. Right. It raises some fascinating questions.
Yeah, is this a literal star?
Is this a literal celestial event?
Is this a metaphor?
Or is wormwood a symbol for something else?
Ooh.
Perhaps a corrupting force, a poisonous ideology, something like that.
Like something spiritual, maybe?
Yeah, something spiritual, something that corrupts the soul.
Corrupts the very essence of life, which...
Yeah, because what could turn the source of life?
Water?
Into
something deadly.
Deadly, right.
That's a good question.
And
then the fourth trumpet.
It
kind of throws us back to that feeling of cosmic disturbance.
Yeah, back to that cosmic disturbance from the sixth seal. Sun, moon, stars
are darkened.
All darkened.
It's like the world is being plunged
into an unsettling twilight.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's almost as if the order of the universe is being disrupted. The natural rhythms of light and darkness thrown into disarray.
Yeah, I get a sense of disorientation.
Disorientation.
Like a loss of hope. And being lost in darkness.
Yeah,
scary stuff.
Amen. And then we get to the final three trumpets.
Ooh, the final three.
And they are terrifying. An eagle flies overhead. Crying out. Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
Whoa. Okay,
These are the three woes.
And they usher in
an even more intense
wave of judgments.
Each woe is announced.
By the eagle.
And it seems like things are about to get really bad.
Things are escalating.
Yeah.
Okay.
The eagle's cry acts as this dramatic foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing, yeah.
It emphasizes the severity.
The severity.
And the finality of what's about to unfold.
It's like a warning siren blaring, like,
exactly.
Pay attention, something bad is about to happen.
Pay attention, this is serious.
This is serious, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's coming is straight out of a nightmare.
Straight out of a nightmare.
The fifth trumpet unleashes.
A plague of demonic locusts.
A plague of demonic locusts.
With scorpion tails.
With scorpion tails.
And their mission is to torment.
To torment.
Anyone who doesn't have the seal of God.
The seal of God? Okay, hold on. The seal of God, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Good question.
What is the seal?
The seal of God is a crucial element here.
Okay.
It's a mark of protection.
Protection, okay.
A sign that sets apart those who are faithful to God.
Faithful to God, okay. So
it introduces this idea of divine favoritism.
Oh, okay.
That some will be spared from the worst of the judgments.
So it's not just random destruction?
No, it's not just random. It's not arbitrary.
There's a system in place.
There's a system of divine justice at play.
A system of divine justice.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it.
Okay. And with the sixth trumpet.
The sixth trumpet.
We've got the Euphrates River.
The Euphrates River.
Remember that name?
Remember that name.
Drying up.
Drying up.
Paving the way for the kings from the east to march in.
Kings from the east, yeah. So why the Euphrates?
Why the Euphrates? That's a good question.
The Euphrates held immense symbolic significance in the ancient world.
Okay.
Often representing this boundary between civilization and chaos.
Civilization and chaos, okay.
So its drying up could symbolize...
Oh, the breakdown of order.
The breakdown of order, yeah.
The blurring of lines.
The blurring of lines between good and evil.
Oh, okay.
It's like the barriers are coming down.
That's even more ominous, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
No.
And then finally, we reach the seventh trumpet.
Seventh trumpet.
A moment that feels...
triumphant and terrifying.
Both triumphant and terrifying, yeah.
A voice from heaven proclaims.
A voice from heaven.
The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Messiah.
Okay.
And he will reign forever and ever.
Yes, it feels like a victory declaration.
It is a victory declaration.
But it's also terrifying, right?
But what's intriguing is how this proclamation coincides.
Coincides with it.
With the unleashing of the final, most devastating judgments.
Okay.
The seven bowls of wrath.
The seven bowls of wrath.
It raises the question, what kind of victory is this?
What kind of victory is this?
And what does it mean for those?
Yeah, what does it mean for those who haven't
aligned themselves
with God's kingdom?
With God's kingdom.
That is a huge question.
Huge question.
And one we're going to have to unpack next time.
We're going to unpack it.
When we dive into the bowls.
The bowls.
But for now, I think we all need a moment to process.
I need a moment to process the sheer scale.
The scale.
What we've just covered.
From cosmic upheaval to demonic locusts.
Cosmic upheaval to demonic locusts.
Seven seals and trumpets paint.
A pretty vivid
and frankly
terrifying
picture.
They do.
Yeah.
And the way these judgments build upon each other, escalating in intensity, it suggests a very deliberate, purposeful unfolding.
Yeah.
This isn't just random chaos.
Yeah.
This is a meticulously orchestrated sequence of events.
Ooh, orchestrated,
leading to something truly transformative.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is big stuff.
Big stuff. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the bowls next time. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
All right, I think we've all had a minute.
Yeah, a moment to catch our breath.
After that whirlwind tour of the seals and trumpets.
It was intense.
But we got to brace ourselves.
Brace yourselves.
Because we're about to plunge into...
the deepest, darkest depths.
Yeah, the deepest, darkest depths of divine judgment.
Yeah.
The seven bowls of wrath.
The seven bowls of wrath.
This is where things get...
really apocalyptic.
Yeah, you could say that again.
It's like the seals and the trumpets.
Yeah.
Just a warm-up.
Of
this final devastating outpouring.
This final act.
Yeah, of divine wrath.
So we're talking...
targeted consequence.
Yeah, targeted consequences, not just
random chaos anymore.
What makes these bowls different from what we've seen so far?
Well, first of all, there's a heightened sense of finality. These bowls represent the culmination of God's judgment.
Okay.
The ultimate reckoning. There's no turning back from this point.
No turning back.
And second, the plagues themselves.
Yeah.
They're Even more intense.
More intense.
More gruesome, more directly aimed.
Aimed at.
Those who've chosen to align themselves with evil.
With evil. Okay, so let's break it down.
Let's break it down.
What's the first bowl all about?
So the first bowl unleashes these horrific, painful sores.
Sores, okay.
On everyone who bears the mark of the beast.
Hold on. Mark of the beast.
Mark of the beast.
What's that all about?
Yeah. What exactly does that mean?
I mean, what is this mark?
The mark of the beast, this symbol.
Okay.
That signifies allegiance to a false power, a rebellion against God.
Okay. A rebellion against God.
Contrasted with the seal of God.
Right. The seal of God.
We talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So the first bowl very clearly targets those.
Those who've actively chosen to side with evil.
Actively chosen to side with evil, yeah.
Okay, so it's a consequence.
That's a direct consequence.
A direct consequence for their actions.
For their actions. For their choices.
So it's not just about physical suffering, then?
No, it's not just physical.
There's a spiritual component as well.
Absolutely. There's a spiritual consequence as well.
Wow. And it continues to escalate from there.
It does.
Second bowl.
Second bowl, the entire sea.
The entire sea
Turns to blood.
turns to blood. And
Killing every living thing within.
everything within it. Wow, that's not just a plague.
It's ecological devastation.
Ecological devastation, the sea, a symbol of life.
A symbol of life and abundance.
Yeah.
Becomes a symbol of death and decay. A complete reversal.
And it doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there, no.
The third bowl.
The third bowl follows a similar pattern.
Okay.
Turns all the rivers and springs to blood as well.
All the fresh water.
The very sources of life.
Yeah.
Instruments of death. It's like a systematic poisoning of the world.
Systematic poisoning, a disruption of the natural order.
A complete disruption, a perversion of the natural order.
And it makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder what could possibly drive such intense judgment.
Such intense judgment. That's a good question.
That's a profound question. And the answer, at least according to Revelation, is human sin and rebellion.
Sin and rebellion. Okay.
The world has become so corrupted, so far removed from God's will,
that these
are
judgments
presented as a necessary purification.
A purification.
A purging of evil.
To make way for something new.
To make way for something new and good.
So it's not just about punishment.
Not just punishment.
There's this element of cleansing, of creating space.
Creating space, making room.
Making room for something better.
For something better, for a new beginning.
A new beginning, but
the path to that renewal
is paved with suffering.
The fourth bowl intensifies the heat of the sun.
The heat of the sun.
Scorching the earth with unbearable fire.
So people are
burning alive.
Burning alive, but
yet their hearts remain hardened.
Hard.
Refusing to repent.
It's like this chilling image of human stubbornness.
Stubbornness, even in the face of unimaginable suffering.
Even in the face of unimaginable suffering, it makes you wonder, what would it take?
What would it take?
For these people to acknowledge their wrongdoing.
To turn back. To change their ways.
Is there any escape from this cycle of judgment?
It's a question that runs throughout the book of Revelation.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
The fifth bowl?
The fifth bowl plunges the kingdom of the beast.
The kingdom of the beast.
Into darkness.
Darkness, but what kind of darkness?
Not just physical darkness, but a spiritual one as well.
A spiritual darkness?
A sense of hopelessness.
Hopelessness.
Despair, a loss of meaning and purpose.
So the spiritual darkness, it's
like a darkness of the soul.
Of the soul.
Yeah, it suggests that the judgments aren't just physical. They target the soul, the very core.
The very core of a person's being.
Wow,
that's deep.
It is.
It makes you think about what true light represents in this context.
Right.
Is it knowledge?
Is it knowledge?
Is it faith?
Faith.
Is it connection to something greater than oneself?
Connection to something greater. Yeah, that's a good question.
Deep stuff.
Deep stuff.
Okay, on to the sixth bowl.
Sixth bowl.
Which dries up the Euphrates River.
Again, the Euphrates.
The Euphrates again.
To prepare the way.
To prepare the way for the kings from the east.
Kings from the east.
Didn't we hear about the Euphrates earlier?
We did. It played a role in the sixth trumpet.
In the sixth trumpet as well.
Yeah, the Euphrates keeps popping up.
It keeps popping up.
And it's not just a random geographical detail.
It's symbolic.
It's symbolic.
Yeah, and you said before it often represented.
That boundary between civilization and chaos.
So the drying up.
Drying up.
It symbolized.
The complete breakdown of order.
Complete breakdown.
The merging of realms, the forces of good and evil.
Good and evil.
Preparing for a final confrontation.
Oh, so it's like
The stage is being set
the stage is being set for this final showdown.
to the ultimate showdown, yeah.
Wow. And that brings us to the seventh bowl.
The seventh bowl.
The grand finale.
A climax.
The climax of all of this cosmic drama.
A voice from heaven declares.
To voice from heaven.
It is done.
It is done.
And all hell breaks loose.
Literally.
Literally lightning, thunder.
Massive earthquake.
Massive earthquake.
Hailstones raining down.
It's a scene of pure chaos.
Pure chaos.
And destruction. The culmination.
The culmination of all the judgments.
And in the midst of this upheaval, Babylon.
Babylon. The sit.
That represents all that's corrupt and wicked.
All that's corrupt and wicked in the world.
Finally destroyed.
Destroyed.
Split into 3 parts. All its cities collapse.
So even the mightiest human creations
crumble under the weight of divine judgment.
Wow. So is there any hope left at this point?
That's the question that hangs heavy at the end of the bowls.
Yeah.
The world has been cleansed, purified.
Purified.
But at a terrible cost.
At a terrible cost, yeah.
And even after all this, the text tells us that people continue to blaspheme God.
They continue to blaspheme God even after all of this.
Even after all this, their hearts are so hardened.
So hard.
So resistant to change.
That they refuse to acknowledge his power even as they suffer the consequences.
Even as they suffer, it's a sobering thought.
It is a sobering thought. Is this a warning then?
Is it a warning? A cautionary tale?
About the dangers of human pride and rebellion?
Or is it something more, a prophecy of things to come?
Ooh, a prophecy.
And that's where we enter the realm of interpretation.
Interpretation.
Some see these judgments as literal events.
Literal events, a blueprint for the apocalypse.
A blueprint, a roadmap.
A roadmap.
Others view them more metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
As commentaries on the human condition.
The human condition.
The consequences of our choices, the eternal struggle.
Between good and evil.
Between good and evil.
It's incredible how this ancient text.
I know, right?
With all its fire and brimstone.
All the drama, all the intensity.
Still resonates with us today.
It does. It speaks to our deepest fears.
Our deepest fears, our anxieties about the future.
About the future, about judgment.
About destruction.
Destruction.
But also about the potential for renewal.
For renewal, for transformation, for a new beginning.
And that's the key, isn't it?
That's the key.
The book of Revelation.
As terrifying as it can be.
As terrifying as it is.
Isn't just about doom and gloom.
It's also about
hope. It's about the promise.
The promise of a new heaven and a new earth.
A new heaven and a new earth. A world where righteousness reigns.
But to get there?
To get there.
We have to confront the darkness.
Confront the darkness.
The consequences of our actions.
The consequences, yeah.
The very real possibility of judgment.
The very real possibility of judgment.
Which brings us to the ultimate question.
The ultimate question.
What does all of this mean for us?
For us? For the listeners?
Listeners, as we navigate our own lives.
Our own lives, our own challenges.
Our own challenges and choices.
Our choices, yeah.
Does the book of Revelation offer any guidance?
Any guidance.
Any solace.
Any solace.
In a world that often feels like it's teetering on the brink.
On the brink of chaos.
Man, we've been on quite a journey.
Yeah, intense, right?
Through the 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls.
The whole apocalyptic package.
All that talk about plagues and destruction and judgment.
Yeah, it can get a bit heavy.
Yeah, it's a lot, I think.
Right.
We could all use a little bit of...
A little dose of hope, maybe?
Yeah, a dose of hope. So, does the book of Revelation offer any of that?
It does.
Like, is there...
A glimpse of a brighter future.
Yeah, is there a brighter future anywhere in this book?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Remember that powerful declaration from the 7th trumpet?
Oh, yeah.
The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Messiah, and he will reign forever and ever.
Powerful stuff.
That's the ultimate message of hope.
The ultimate message of hope.
The promise of a new heaven and a new earth.
A new heaven and a new earth.
Where righteousness and justice prevail.
So it's not all...
Not all doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom, yeah. There's a sense of renewal. Like a vision of a world transformed. Even after all that devastation.
Exactly. The judgments, as terrifying as they are, can be seen as a necessary cleansing.
A cleansing.
A purging of evil.
Yeah, purging of evil to make way for...
To make way for something new.
Beautiful.
Like a cosmic reset button.
A cosmic reset, yeah.
A chance for humanity to start over. To rebuild.
In a way that aligns with God's will.
That's it.
Okay, so it's like the darkness before the dawn.
The darkness before the dawn.
But what about those who haven't repented?
Good question.
Are they just...
Are they condemned?
Condemned, yeah, to eternal suffering.
Eternal suffering. What happens to them in this new world?
Yeah, what happens to them?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a complex theological question.
Yeah, complex for sure.
That has been debated for centuries.
Centuries.
Different interpretations offer different answers.
Different interpretations, different answers.
Yeah. But I think what's important to remember is that the book of Revelation, at its core, is a message of hope.
Hope.
It's about the triumph of good over evil.
The triumph of good over evil.
A promise of a future.
Yeah.
Where God's love and justice
ultimately prevail.
Ultimately prevail. That's the key.
So it's like this cosmic drama with all these twists and turns.
Yeah, all the ups and downs.
But ultimately, it's pointing towards a happy ending.
Ultimately, a happy ending.
Okay, so I think that explains why.
Right.
These apocalyptic visions.
Yeah, they continue to fascinate us.
They fascinate us. Why?
I think they tap into our deepest fears.
Our deepest fears.
And longings, our anxieties about the future.
The future, but also
our hopes for redemption.
The redemption, yeah. Like
deep down, we all want a happy ending.
We all want that happy ending.
We want good to triumph.
Yeah.
And these visions give us a glimpse of that possibility.
And they force us.
They force us to confront.
Some big questions.
Yeah, the big question.
Yeah, like what choices are we making?
What choices are we making? What values are we embracing?
Yeah.
Are we building a world that reflects justice and compassion?
Or are we sowing the seeds of our own destruction?
Yeah. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah. So if we bring this back to the listener, to their everyday life. What's the takeaway from all of this?
The takeaway. I think it's this. The book of Revelation.
Yeah.
With all its vivid imagery and apocalyptic pronouncements.
Yeah.
It challenges us to think critically about our choices.
Okay.
Both individually and collectively.
It
reminds us that actions have consequences.
Yeah. And that the world we create.
Is
a reflection.
Of those choices.
So it's not just about some far-off apocalypse.
No, it's about the choices we're making right now.
The impact we're having
on a world today.
Yeah. Every single day.
It's a call to action.
It is.
A reminder that
we're not just passive observers.
Not passive observers in this cosmic drama, but active participants.
We're shaping the course of history.
Every decision we make matters.
Wow. And I think it's in that active participation, in that conscious choice to align ourselves with love and justice and compassion.
That's it.
That we find
true hope. Not just for ourselves, but for the future of humanity.
That's a powerful message to end on.
It is.
It leaves us with a sense of responsibility. But also a sense of empowerment.
Yeah.
We have the power to choose, to create, to shape the world we want to live in.
We do.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
On this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
Into the book of Revelation.
My pleasure.
It's been a wild ride.
It has.
But one that hopefully leaves us with a deeper understanding of ourselves, our world, and the choices.
The choices that lie before us.
Until next time.